Hello, and welcome to 𝗬𝗃𝗍 TV. Ever seen a planet with real rings? That's Saturn. Huge, far away, and glittering rings of ice and rock swirl around it. Why does it have these rings, and what are they made of? Easy and Peasy will show you now.
Wow, look at Saturn. This planet is so big that our Earth looks almost like a marble next to it. And the best part, Saturn doesn't just have one ring, but lots and lots of them. These rings are incredibly wide, but not thick at all. Imagine a sheet of paper wrapped around a giant ball. That's roughly how thin they are, only made of ice and stones. Countless fragments fly around in the rings. Some are as big as a house, others only as small as a pea. Together, they form more than 100,000 individual ring bands. Hard to believe, isn't it? It's as if Saturn were being embraced by a glittering sheet of ice. Stay tuned. It's about to get even more exciting. We'll take a look at how these rings might have originated.
Researchers have various ideas about how Saturn got its rings. The first idea sounds like something out of a space bakery. In the beginning, there was a large disk of gas and dust around the young sun. The planets gradually formed from this disk. Saturn also originated from this material. But not everything immediately became a planet. Some of it remained as residual material. Moons can form from these remnants. And in the case of very large planets, like Saturn, rings can also form from these fragments. Imagine it like this. You build a tall tower out of Lego bricks. You arrange the leftover bricks in a circle around it. That's exactly how Saturn's rings could have formed from the leftover bricks. And that was just idea number one. A second one is coming right up, and it's even more dramatic.
Now, things get wild. The second idea suggests the rings may have been born much later. Imagine that many moons orbit Saturn. Some are large, some are small. If two such moons collide, it can be a huge bang. The moons can break apart in the process. The debris flies around, collides again, and is ground into tiny particles of ice and rock. Over time, these particles accumulate in a flat disk around Saturn. And presto, a ring is formed. It's almost like dropping two snowballs together. They crumble into many small pieces that then fly around you as snow dust. Which idea is correct? That's not certain yet. But that's precisely what makes space exploration so exciting. You keep discovering more pieces of the puzzle. And of course, you don't want to miss a single one. By the way, Saturn isn't the only planet with rings. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune also have rings, but their rings are very dark and faint. They can only be seen with powerful telescopes. Saturn is the big star here. Its rings are bright, wide, and truly striking. When you look through a telescope, Saturn is the planet that looks like a record in space. Imagine 4 children each carrying a hula hoop. 3 of them are transparent and barely visible. Only one glitters and has colorful rhinestones. That's exactly how the rings of the planets are. That's why many say, anyone who hasn't seen Saturn's rings has missed one of the most beautiful views of space.
Saturn not only has rings, but also many moons that orbit like little companions. A few of them are particularly fascinating. Take Titan, for example, Saturn's largest moon. It has a dense atmosphere, a real atmosphere. That's quite unusual for a moon and makes it almost like a mini planet. Then there's Rhea. This moon consists largely of ice and a little bit of rock, almost like a giant frozen snow globe. And Mimas looks as if someone had hit him hard with a rock. A huge crater reveals that Mimas once collided with a large celestial body. All these moons and chunks of rock orbiting Saturn belong to the same family of celestial bodies. Some may have become rings, others moons. Together, they make Saturn one of the most fascinating places in the universe. Stay tuned. There's another quiz question for you in a moment. Now for the quiz question. Are you ready? Why can we see Saturn's rings so well? A. Because they are made of ice and rock fragments. B. Because the rings are made of bright plastic. C. Because Saturn is much closer to Earth than the Moon. And the correct answer is A. Because they consist of pieces of ice and rock that reflect sunlight well.
What a trip. Today you learned that Saturn has many thin rings made of ice and rock. The rock fragments can be as big as houses or as small as peas. Researchers suspect that the rings formed either from leftover material from planet formation or from broken-up moons. You now know that other planets have rings, but none as magnificent as Saturn. And you've learned about Titan, Rhea, and Mimas, 3 of its fascinating moons. Knowing all this makes you a true space expert when it comes to Saturn. Goodbye, and see you next time.